So the next topic, like all of our topics, are very serious, right? So Ben and I try and process this information through conversations, which we hope is a good way for everybody watching to process this information. But this topic is as serious as anything that we'll ever discuss, and it's sexual aggression. So when we're talking about sexual aggression, we're talking about any act that is aggressive in nature, sexual in nature, that is unsolicited, unwanted, and unprovoked. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we have to do this because, you guys, it happens, and it's awful. And we want to help come up with tools and tricks about how to, prevent it from happening.
Sexual aggression happens way before someone is physically, sexually assaulted. Right?
Okay, explain.
And that's where we need to target our efforts. Okay. And that's when I also say people do it who never think they would actually do it.
Okay. So it's the sexual aggressive act doesn't just get in somebody's head and then they act on it.
Absolutely not.
It happens way before that act occurred.
Sure. It happens with a blurred boundary.
Tell me about that. I want you to think of staring at the crest of a deep, deep, dark canyon. And what folks are doing with testing boundaries is they will throw a little fluorescent, what are they called? Like
flare.
A little flare down just to see where it goes, all right? So they're sending out little flares to see how deep they gotta go. So they throw the flare off the edge of the canyon just to see, are there boundaries? How far can I go, right? Mm-hmm. And in the classroom and at school, these little flares that people are throwing out might be something like, so did you see that movie where they showed a little too much skin? Oh man, that girl was so hot when that.
Okay,
and
that's great.
That's the flare. That's the little shot to see, are people going to react to that? Are the girls in the room going to react to that? And what we find out a lot, Ben, right, is that one comment makes us uncomfortable. We don't really freak out at that comment. We're maybe annoyed, or maybe we think that comment was obnoxious, but we don't say anything. And at that point, the flare is set, and that individual who said it knows how far they can get away with something. So I was at a concert, and on the other side of us was a chain link fence and then kind of like a forest wooded area. And someone nearby kind of jumped up excitedly and saw a snake. And then we heard a rattle, and if it was just me, I would have freaked out and ran, just screaming my eyes out. But nobody else was freaking out. Nobody else was setting up a boundary, is what I'm trying to say. And everybody just kind of stood there, and we just sort of stood uncomfortably around a very poisonous snake, right? And then the snake kept moving. It was like, yeah, okay, I'm moving on down the line. And it wasn't until a good 5-10 yards down the line that a very strong-willed, intelligent person in the crowd of the line stood up and said, everybody back away, there's a rattlesnake, let's call for some help.
Which is exactly what you wanted to say.
Which is what I should have said, right? And I think what I want to explain is when someone says a dirty joke or they throw out something of sexual nature, we might treat that like we did the rattlesnake. Like, oh my gosh, that's a thing. I don't like it, I'm uncomfortable, but nobody was setting up a boundary. Yeah. What I wanted to do and what I took away from that experience was I wanted to be like that lady down the line who took charge and didn't sit there and scream at the snake and make the snake feel awful for being a snake or whatever. Didn't make a scene, but they said, this is dangerous. Hey, I think this could lead to problems. Let's change the subject. Let's get some help.
As teachers, as parents, and as fellow students, it is our responsibility to find that early flare and shut it down. Because even though the other students may be laughing, they're feeling very uncomfortable. By shutting that down, you are making a statement not directed toward that student, but you're making a statement saying, in this classroom, I will not tolerate any kind of talk like that whatsoever.
We don't want to paint the picture that when someone tells a dirty joke or that they're actually going to commit a sexual act either. What we're trying to communicate is all of us fall into patterns on accident. We are creatures of habit. And the more accepting people are of any topic of sexual nature or even sexually aggressive discourse or discussion, those boundaries,
it blurs them. It blurs the boundaries, and then it sets a new boundary. And so now that's the one I'm going to go up to, and then I'm going to push that one.
When kids or adults or somebody that is testing a boundary, that's what I would like to see all of us do, is respond to the boundary. have a plan for it. And then if the minute we feel uncomfortable, tell somebody.
Absolutely. I like that a lot.
All right.
That's well put.
All right.